Suzanne. All right, welcome everyone to the Jordan School District Board of Education meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 11th, and we have all board members present except for we are excusing Mr. Brian Barnett. We also have with us our superintendent, Anthony Godfrey, our associate superintendent, Mike Anderson, our business administrator, John Larson, and our board attorney, Mr. Paul Van Komen. We are going to start this evening with a motion to go into closed session.
I move that we go into closed session for character and competence of individuals, property, potential litigation, negotiations, and/or security.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ms. Dean, a second by Ms. Barrow that we go into closed session. We'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Dr. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Barrow?
Yes.
Mr. Dunford?
Yes.
And I am also a yes, so that is a unanimous vote. We are now in closed session. We will resume for our public hearing at 6 o'clock. I mean at 6:30.
drive back from St. George just flew. Anyway. Oh, when is that one? Is that in another week?
Okay. Welcome to the Jordan School District Board of Education meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, November 11th. We have present with us all members of the Board of Education, except we're excusing Mr. Brian Barnett this evening. We also have our board attorney, Mr. Paul Van Komen, our superintendent, Dr. Anthony Godfrey, our associate superintendent, Mike Anderson, and our business administrator, John Larson. Okay, seeing as today is Veterans Day, although it's not on our agenda, I think it would be very appropriate for us to go ahead and begin our meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance and a huge statement of thanks to those who serve our country in the military forces, as well as those who work to make our country operate. So with that, if you will please stand and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so we are happy to have you here this evening while we hear a public hearing on 2 proposed boundary changes. Just a few notes on public hearing. First of all, silence by the board on an issue does not indicate support or opposition to a message given. So please allow us to just listen to what you have to say, and there won't be interaction back and forth. And we are going to take public comment first. We'll group these by boundary. So we'll start by the Midas Creek boundary, and we will hear in-person comments on the Midas Creek boundary. Then we'll move into comments in person on the northwest boundary, and then we'll do our electronic comments at that time. Both in-person and emailed comments can last a maximum of 3 minutes, so please be respectful of that time. The board will hear comment until everyone who has a desire to speak has had an opportunity, but we do ask that we limit the length of time to the 3 minutes. And when you are called to the podium, please take a minute to state your name. Okay, so let's go ahead and move over to those who have signed up. Oh, I do have 2 comments that are for all boundary changes. So we'll hear those first, and then we'll move into Midas Creek, if that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Dana Williams, and then followed by Dana, we will hear from Shauna Page. Mr. Williams.
I'm addressing all, but most is geared to one, so I don't know if you want me to wait. Most of mine is geared toward Copper Hills. I have one comment that addresses all of them. Just want to make sure you put me where you want me.
You're up. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. As I looked at, and I did spend a bunch of time looking at these proposals, my first thought that I want to share, you have at least, well, you're listed two, but there's kind of three sections. I think it would be better to divide them completely and address each one and examine each one independently, because they're not the same thing. And one might be good, but another might not be. And I think that's the best way to approach it. I'm the chair of the community council at Copper Hills. We're our fifth child will graduate there this year. So next year I have no skin in the game, if you want to put it that way. So I'm representing the Copper Hills community, and I've talked to a lot of people. So here's a few reasons that I've heard as far as why the Copper Hills change is not good for Copper Hills. First, distance, and I'll give details on some of these if I have time. Second, changing schools limits students' opportunities, and a number of parents express concerns with that, including students. If I go to a new school, I'm starting from scratch. Third, there's no overcrowding issue at Copper Hills. The numbers that the board supplied show that even if nothing happens, Copper Hills will never reach capacity, so that's not an issue. Fourth, the Copper Hills community, including students, parents, teachers, counselors, they take pride in being a big school. There's some opportunities that come with being part of a big school. Fourth, there's a cost issue, and this is my estimate based on that data I could get, but if the district has one bus go from the 90th area to Bingham for one route, that's about $40,000 a year. Now, these are kids that can walk back and forth to school right now. One of the big issues that parents express to me is even if they can get bused back and forth, a lot of kids spend time after school. And so it means that parents have to make an extra trip or have a car. There's some apartments where those are low-income students. If they're bused to Bingham, they lack the capacity to get back and forth, which means their opportunities to participate in extracurricular go right down the tubes. That's not a great option for them. A reduction in student numbers also usually means a reduction in faculty and counselors. Some of the issues with that is with certain classes, even a slight change with some of those higher classes, they may lose the opportunity to continue those. That will affect curriculum offerings, and as we know, that especially deals with the electives. Those tend to go right out the window, and parents have expressed a lot of concern about that. There are other alternatives that would probably be better, less costly, and don't require people going back and forth on the east-west corridor, which is a nightmare in the morning. The other thing about this is this process felt very rushed. So school started, a lot of parents didn't even know. And we appreciate the board reopening the comment period on the survey. It was just under 2 weeks, and a week of that was fall break. A lot of parents still didn't know. And yet, from my understanding, at least 200 more parents responded. There's no rush to do this. We could spend a whole year and do it right and make sure we cover all bases. A couple other things. Most people, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right. We will now hear from Shauna Page, and then we'll move into our Midas Creek comments with Leslie Dixon.
My name is Shauna Page, and I am currently a dedicated employee of the district. I'm also a resident of the Wildflower neighborhood. And I speak tonight on behalf of countless families in our area that are profoundly concerned about the proposed boundary changes. And these changes would forcibly resign our children from West Hills Middle School and Copper Hills High School to campuses that are significantly farther away. We recognize and respect your complex challenges that you face in realigning things, and this is a difficult task, but there's a few points that I want to bring up. The most immediate loss we face is the demolition of our neighborhood's infrastructure. West Hills and Copper Hills are not merely buildings, they are the beating heart and central arteries of our neighborhood. The current walkability of these schools is priceless. It allows our students to travel safely on foot and fosters daily neighborhood connections and actively helps them promote healthy habits. It reassigning our children to schools like Elk Ridge or Bingham, immediately eliminates this ability to walk, forcing them to become passengers when they can be close to their schools. The next thing I'd like to bring up is that these boundary changes impose a significant measurable burden on our students' daily lives. Every minute added to a bus ride is stolen from homework, family time, vital sleep, and meaningful extracurricular activities. That extra 30 to 40 minutes translate to lost time over the school year, and that is absolutely critical for our students, especially in high school. And it also drastically complicates their participation in sports and other extracurricular activities. Also, the last point that I'd like to bring up is that not only are you taking the students away from being close, but I have spent years fostering different things over at the school. And I know a lot of the people around me have put in hours and hours, whether it's doing set design for programs like the musicals or the choir program, doing all of those things. And as a parent, I'm sorry, those are things that when we moved here, I could see problems and I wanted to help. And we've done a lot to help those programs. And taking that away is just heartbreaking. So thank you. And
Thank you. We'll now hear from Leslie Dixon, followed by Jordan Dixon.
Just a disclaimer that whatever goes over 3 minutes, my husband and I wrote this together, so he'll just finish what we have to say. Good evening, Jordan School Board members. My name is Leslie Dixon, and I am a parent and active member of the Harriman community. I would like to voice my concerns regarding the proposed Midas Creek boundary changes. First, I have a daughter who currently attends Copper Mountain Middle after completing grades K through 6 at Midas Creek. We know all too well the challenges that come with being separated from friends when transitioning to a new school. Our daughter experienced this firsthand when she first entered middle school, and although it was difficult, it ultimately showed her strength and resilience as she learned to branch out, adapt, and make new friends. She has built meaningful connections and is thriving socially and academically because of the stability she has found at Copper Mountain Middle School. If these changes are implemented and we choose to stay at Copper Mountain Middle School, we would need to drive our daughter to and from school every day, which would create a significant burden for our household. This is especially frustrating because we currently live within easy bus and walking distance, weather permitting, of Copper Mountain Middle School. We're on the east side of the corridor. Our home is roughly 1.8 miles from Copper Mountain Middle School, a 6-minute drive, and only 1.5 miles walking distance via a private walking trail that connects our neighborhood directly to the school. My daughter and her friends who live in our neighborhood enjoy walking home from school on nice days whenever possible, and they regularly use the walking trail. By contrast, Oker Hills Middle School is 3.7 miles away, roughly a 10-minute drive. Walking, therefore, is not a viable option. It would take about 90 minutes along a busy route. While we understand that our daughter would be allowed to stay at Copper Mountain Middle School under a permit, my daughter has worked hard for 6 years with hopes of joining the Harriman High swim team and competing alongside majority of her friends. Not having a guaranteed permit for her to attend Harriman High School afterward is far from ideal. Her academic, social, and extracurricular plans, including her long-term goal of joining the Harriman High swim team, are built around continuing with the peers she has bonded with at Copper Mountain Middle School. Uncertainty around her high school placement creates stress, disrupts established relationships, and undermines the continuity she has worked so hard to build. Secondly, I have a 9-year-old son who currently attends Midas Creek Elementary and is in 4th grade. Our family is deeply involved in the Harriman Youth Football Program. and we are very concerned that these boundary changes will further impact the future of our already undersized program. My son plays football for Harriman Youth Football and wrestles with Harriman High's wrestling club, Ravage Wrestling. I'll let my husband finish.
We'll continue with Jordan Dixon and then hear from Briggs Dixon.
Thank you. Jordan Dixon. Yeah, one thing that we've really has come to light with this whole thing is the effect it's going to take on youth sports, right? If you took the numbers from Riverton, Harriman, Mountain Ridge, currently Harriman sits about 100 below Mountain Ridge, which sits about 100 below Riverton. So you are going to take, with this boundary change affecting Midas Creek, it would take about 80 kids put into the Riverton district, and then 30 of those kids from Mountain Ridge would also feed into the Riverton district, creating a 600 plus person division. So I have a couple players here with me tonight, friends and neighbors and athletes that I've coached, and seeing the bond and being a part of the bond that we've created and having that dream of one day going from playing Little League all the way through to playing for the high school is something that I don't think many understand unless you've experienced it. So with that being said, we ask you to consider that in your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now hear from Briggs Dixon, followed by Joelle Altmeyer.
Hello, my name is Briggs Dixon, and I'm 9 years old. I play football in the Harriman Youth Football League, and I really love my team. I wanted to talk about the boundary changes. When kids get moved to different schools, it means a lot to us. We won't stay with our teammates. Our team is like a family. We practice together, we work hard together, and we help each other get better. It's not just about football. Our coaches teach us to be good friends, good students, and good people. If the boundaries change, a lot of kids will have to leave teams they've played on for years. It's scary to lose your friends and have to start over. It's hard to build trust and confidence when everything keeps changing. I know you have to make big decisions, and I know they aren't easy. I just want you to remember that your decisions do not only move kids to different buildings, they also change our friendships, our teams, and the things that make us feel safe and supported. Please think about how this affects kids like me. We just want to stay with our teammates and our coaches and our community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Joelle Altmeyer. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing names correctly, followed by Olive Woods.
Hi, my name is Joelle Altmeyer. I'm in 6th grade and I go to Midas Creek. My mom and dad divorced when I was younger, and one of the things that has stayed the same for me is my friends at school. They help me feel happy and supported, and they're a really big part of my life. Going to middle school is already a big change, and having my friends with me will make it feel less scary. But right now, the way the boundaries are, a lot of us who have grown up together will be split into different junior highs. That means I won't get to stay with many of my friends who have helped me through a lot. I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. A lot of kids depend on their friends too, and I know it will be really hard for them as well if they get separated. I support the boundary changes because it means we can stay together. If I have my friends with me, I know I'll feel more confident and not so nervous about middle school. And I know that it would help a lot of other kids too. So I hope you will vote for the change, not just for me, but for everyone who feels the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Olive Woods, followed by Melinda Woods.
My name is Olive Woods. I am in 3rd grade and go to school at Midas Creek Elementary. When my brother went to middle school at South Hills Middle School, he only knew about 40 kids. Because of his lunch schedule, none of these friends were in his lunch. He was pretty nervous. It took him a whole year to make school friends, and he usually makes friends really fast. Please vote yes to allow us to stick together. Then my two brothers at Midas Creek and I can be with our friends at middle school and high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Melinda Woods, followed by Amy McMullen.
Hi. Whoa, that's loud. Hi, I'm Melinda Woods. I live in the South Hills Mountain Ridge portion of Midas Creek. But what's unique to me is 8 years ago, I actually lived in the Copper Mountain Harriman portion. So I'm really rooted in this community and have a lot of associations between the different boundaries. The year I moved was actually the year of the mother of all boundary changes, and so I saw how that change from students attending Riverton and moving to Mountain Ridge impacted our community that I live in now. I did email you prior to the October 28th public comment meeting with reasons that I support this change, and thank you so much for the many replies and for the time it takes for you to read those comments and respond to our concerns. I'm here tonight to specifically address the urgency in passing this now. I've worked in education for about 18 years. I have helped current and future educators become licensed by receiving their bachelor's, master's, and doctorate programs. I currently am an adjunct faculty member for Ensign College, and I'm very involved in Midas Creek's PTA and school community council. From my experience, as well as the experience of visiting with others, our school district is unique. You listen to the members of your community, and you don't have a one-size-fits-all approach. You really try and make the best decision for the situation. I witnessed you make many decisions, but I'm specifically going to address how I saw this proposal take place when I was watching your August 12th meeting. You spoke and you were trying to decide the number of years for permits. And Dr. Robinson, I feel like, put it best when he said, I want to help as many families and make this a smooth transition as possible if they have close ties to a school. He then went on to say that the wishes of the family should be allowed if there's room. Well, guess what? The data shows there's room. Unify us, allow us to have strong ties with our existing school and finish there. Some of these ties, or allow those who do have strong ties to finish there. Some of these ties might be sports programs. They might be wanting to attend the same school as their siblings, or relationships with teachers, and I've heard many, many more. Every family at Midas Creek is invested in a program. The trick is we're all invested in different programs. You can see these cute kids behind me in the Harriman jerseys. Guess what? Our school also has just as many kids invested in Mountain Ridge and Riverton, and they wear their jerseys with pride, but we're not unified. That is so hard to see. Imagine if thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Amy McMullen, followed by Christy File. I know I said that wrong once before, I'm sorry.
Thank you for allowing us to have a voice regarding the proposed boundary changes. My name is Amy McMullen. I am here speaking tonight as a parent, a community member, and as a teacher of Midas Creek. I've lived in my home for just over 20 years. When we first moved in, we attended Rose Creek Elementary. We were so excited when Midas Creek was announced and built. All 4 of my children attended Midas Creek. I was the PTA president-elect the first year that the school opened and PTA president the second year. I've continued to serve on the Midas Creek PTA board and have served as a teacher rep ever since 2010 when I was hired. I also currently serve on our school community council. I have not only been a parent of 4 children who attended Midas Creek, but I also have 7 nieces and nephews who have attended Midas Creek. Additionally, I'm currently a full-time first grade teacher at Midas Creek, where I have taught for the last 15 years. My kids attended school in the Jordan School District in Sandy before the big district split. After attending Rose Creek and Midas Creek, they also attended South Hills Middle School, Copper Mountain Middle School, Harriman High School, and Riverton High School, because of the way Midas Creek feeds. I love Jordan District, and I've been a proud member for many, many years. Because of the way Midas Creek feeds, and because of the way my children chose to permit, because of leaving friends at the end of 6th grade, There were a couple years when we had 4 kids in 4 different schools, all while I was teaching elementary school. Try juggling that. I keep hearing that we chose our boundary with the last boundary change. That is simply not true. We had the opportunity to vote on a boundary that we liked the best. There are few families who now attend Midas Creek who had children at the school when the boundary change happened. I am an example of that. My youngest child is now 22 years old. To those of you who truly get to vote on whether this change happens or not, we may be just another number, a map, and a boundary line. But to our families and to the students who are impacted on a daily basis by this decision, we live the outcome of this vote every single day. Our children make friends through elementary school who then in 6th grade face leaving each other literally for the rest of their lives. As a 12-year-old, that is hard. As an educator, I spend all year long helping my students make and keep friends. Even with permits being available, feeding into 3 middle schools and 3 high schools is absurd. There isn't another school in the district who's being asked to do this. Watching 6th graders on the last day of school is agonizing. Please do the right thing and vote to unify our school by allowing our school to feed into 1 middle school and 1 high school. It has lifelong effects on our children. I've watched it firsthand with my now 28-year-old, 26, 24, and 22-year-old children, along with the 300-plus children that I have educated and have had the privilege of teaching, plus the hundreds of those and thousands of those who have experienced the tears. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Christy File, followed by Carissa Kim. I know, correct me one more time.
You did it. It's actually correct.
Oh, yay.
Good job. It's a hard one, but you did great. I am part of the PTA, and I'm on the community council. And I feel that this is something we really need to talk about because, with Midas Creek, because we are a really cool community, and we deserve to be united. And we deserve to have our kids go to the same schools. And I appreciate that we have the ability that these kids who want to go to other schools can, but we should all be able to go. I talked last time about how sad it is to watch these kids on the last day of school and the realization that they're not going to see their friends anymore. These kids that they have been with, these friends that they've been with for how long, they don't get to see them anymore, and they don't get to go to school with them anymore. And that is awful for these kids, and I've watched it over and over, and I didn't know why until just recently, that it was because we get split into 3 different feeder systems. You know, our numbers are decreasing. It's not like this is going to be something that is a large change. Our numbers are going down. Our numbers are, you know, our 6th graders right now are about 130 something in there. Our kindergarten is about 80. So these numbers are not going to be something that is going to increase a lot at Oker and Riverton. Our priority is our kids, and we want to have that be as smooth of a transition as it can be. I really wanted to also say thank you to Bryce, because he has been willing to listen to us and willing to actually help us and not just push us off and push us to the side saying that let's just do it another time, because the time is now. We need it now. I have kids. I have a 5th grader who has struggled with getting friends and having friends, and having her recognize that she has friends who will not be going to the same middle school as her scares her, and that's not okay. We need to actually keep these kids and help these kids have a safe and a good learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Carissa Kim, and while she's walking up, is there anyone here who intended to speak on the Midas Creek area boundary change that didn't see the sign up? Okay, perfect. You'll be our last Midas Creek representative tonight.
Good evening. I just wanted to give my opinion that I think that the boundary change for Midas Creek should go forth. I would love to see our community united. I just moved into the Midas Creek boundary about a year ago, and I didn't know prior to moving in that the school is split into three, or else I honestly may not have moved into the boundaries in the first place, because I have a daughter who is a sixth grader this year who has a lot of anxiety, and she was really worried about going into school. And so I thought, oh, she'll go to school for sixth grade and she'll make friends, and then she'll know people for middle school. Because at our previous neighborhood, we were in another school that like didn't feed into our middle school. You didn't, like, no one else fed into the middle school that we would be going to, and I didn't like that. And she has really struggled with her transition into sixth grade. She has finally made some really good friends, and I'm really worried and for her anxiety that going to middle school is just going to be so hard to lose friends again and have to start over again. And I don't think she's the only kid who has anxiety about middle school. I think it's a scary time, and I think there's a lot of kids that suffer with anxiety these days. And it would be just so much smoother if they could go to middle school with more than just 40 kids. It seems like the numbers of students projected are projected to rise in both of the Harriman high schools, but decline in the Riverton. And so I think it makes sense to make the change now. I think it's going to be, if we wait, I think it's going to be tricky no matter when you decide to make the boundary change. But I think it makes sense to do it sooner rather than later. I think it will benefit more kids in the long run if we just do it now rather than waiting. I think no matter what, you're going to have the same tricky situations. And then the kids will know earlier on that that's where they're going to, and it'll be less hard for the children coming forth. I also think that many people find community at schools, both children and parents alike. Many parents volunteer at our school, and we form relationships with the people we volunteer with, and I think it would be so awesome if we could continue those relationships to volunteer at the high school and the middle school levels together. And I would just love to see our community united instead of divided. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move into hearing comment on the Northwest area boundary changes, starting with Scott Humphrey and then followed by Isaac Humphrey.
My name is Scott Humphrey. We live in the Wildflower neighborhood near Copper Hills High School. We moved into the area in 1998. When we moved in, 90th South didn't exist. When we moved in, 4800 West had a large section that wasn't even paved. When we first moved in, Jordan Hills Elementary School was still under construction, and Bingham Cook Library didn't exist. When we moved in, our children went to Mountain Shadows Elementary for that school year. That fall, Jordan Hills opened, and we started at Jordan Hills. Less than 2 years later, after the district made promises that we would be able to attend our community school, and what's more community than a walkable school, the district came in and said, due to unanticipated growth, we have to reboundary the school. They moved us from a school less than a half a mile away to a school outside of our feeder system. And now here we are again in the same predicament. We're walkable to both Copper Hills and West Hills Middle School, and this is our community. I spent the last 25 years serving for 4 years on the community council at West Hills and for 3 years on the community council at Copper Hills. We spent 5 years with our older kids marching with the marching band, losing a lot of sweat during those summer parades and helping them for all of their marching band competitions. We are very much committed to this community. When people ask me what part of West Jordan I live in, it's not I live near Jordan Landing, it's I live near Copper Hills High School. This is our community. We don't want to see our community split up and divided and move to a school that's more than 5 miles away that we're not haven't been a part of. We also don't think it makes economic sense to bus students that can walk and move them away to a school where they have to be bused to. We don't want to see them have their opportunities for participation in outside activities reduced either because of the distance to the school. We love our community, we're invested in our community, and we don't want to see our community to be divided up and moved away from what we've become accustomed to and built up over the last 30 years. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Isaac Humphrey, who will be followed by Ruby Humphreys.
Hello. Hello, my name is Isaac Humphrey. I'm speaking here tonight to urge you to not change boundaries and move us to Bingham High School. I live at a place where I can bike to Copper Hills High School. I can also walk, and whenever I do either, I love watching all of my not only classmates or peers, but friends drive by. I love it when one of my friends would honk their car horn whenever they would see me. I also am the youngest child out of 4, and all 3 of my older siblings have not only attended, but have graduated from Copper Hills. I am in my sophomore year and want to stay at Copper Hills and continue onto the same path that all my siblings took. I plead with you that you might consider not changing the boundaries. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Ruby Humphreys, and she will be followed by Alexandria Humphreys.
I'm Ruby Humphreys, and I'm here today to ask you to not change my neighborhood's boundaries. I'm in 6th grade at Copper Canyon. I'm a little scared to go to middle school next year. One thing that makes that easier is having my best friends with me. The boundary change would separate me and my friends. A lot of other kids would be separated from their friends too, with the 3-way split to middle schools. What a terrible way to start middle school. I'm nervous to wake up earlier, have to ride a bus each morning. Means I would have to wake up even earlier than before. I have been looking forward to going to West Hills and Copper Hills as I've seen the experiences my sisters have had. Please allow me to stay with my friends, sleep in a little bit, and not have to go on a bus.
Thank you, Ruby. Okay, we will now hear from Alexandria, and she will be followed by Lily Brenner.
I can't get over how proud I am of her standing up here doing something she was scared of. I am here again to ask you to please leave our boundaries the way they are for the Wildflower neighborhood. Copper Hills is in very easy walking distance. In fact, it takes nearly as long to walk slowly to Copper Hills as it does to drive to Bingham in the morning from our homes. Our kids have been working hard to create relationships that lead to opportunities for joining teams or groups at Copper Hills. Even while they're at Copper Canyon, they walk through that fence to watch productions, or Ruby went and watched the marching band play earlier this year, and they just hype those kids up to go to Copper Hills. Right now, Copper Canyon is split among 2 middle schools, but they unite once again at the high school level. The proposed boundary change splits our kids 3 ways. The same way these wonderful people have been pleading for their school to be united, you're setting us up for that same troublesome situation with this split. We are firmly in the Copper Hills community. Like Scott, who lives 2 doors down from me, said, when we tell people where we live near Copper Hills. This is our community. Our kids need continuity of friends. that jump from elementary school with one teacher who knows you and cares about you and knows your family and all the things happening with you, to going to middle school where you have 7 teachers, some of whom will struggle to learn your name, much less the nuances of who you are and what you need, is hard. You need the comfort that comes with knowing there will be friendly faces in the hallway, if not in your class. Separating our kids from their friends to go to Elkridge is a big ask. That is a hard, hard thing for these kids. The commute going east-west with traffic both ways is rough. It's a big thing to ask our high school kids to do. Ruby's the youngest of 4. Her sister, who is a senior right now, spends more time at school than at home, and it's not even December madrigal season yet. And that is it's a scary drive to ask our kids to make. In addition to reducing their available extracurriculars if they don't have a parent who can take them both ways or a car available. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now invite Lily Brenner, and following her, we'll hear from Jenna Graham.
My name is Lily Brunner. As a 9th grader at West Hills, I want a guarantee that I can attend Copper Hills. If the boundaries change, I think 9th graders should have a guaranteed permit. I was a Grizzly in preschool, and I've been involved in many Copper Hills extracurricular activities. I've worked for many years to be involved in Copper Hills, and I want to continue my education seamlessly at Copper Hills. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll now hear from Jenna Graham.
Okay, I'm not good with words, but I'm Gianna Graham, and it's okay, don't worry. I am an employee of Copper Canyon Elementary, and I strongly oppose the boundary change. I feel like our kids at Copper Canyon are so, they grow these relationships for 6 years at this elementary school, and then being split to 3 different, I know it's been said, 3 different middle schools is kind of crazy and ridiculous that it's not that many kids. Our school is one of the smaller elementary schools. I know Jordan Hills is huge, but I feel like, especially having, all my kids are in elementary school, but having the kids that are in boundary in the number 2 section that you want to move, moving any of those kids is ridiculous because they can walk to schools. And I know that's been said, but I want to say it again. Please do not change the boundary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that is the end of everyone I have signed up in person to speak. Is there anyone here who intended to speak to on the Northwest boundary change proposal who didn't see the sign up and still wants to speak? Okay, then we will go ahead and move to online comments.
Board, I'm going to take the one I know that is with Midas Creek first. I may have missed on the others, but I think this is the one on Midas Creek. My name is Kim Birdsall. I have been a Riverton resident most of my life, and after getting married, moved to Daybreak. We are in the Harriman boundaries, and I have a 9-year-old son who plays football. But not only does he play football, he has made lifelong friends doing so. The boundary changes that you are considering will affect my son personally, along with 80-plus kids that he plays football with. Football has given my son so much in the 3 years he has been playing, and we've all made such great friends doing so. The kids you are trying to take away from Harriman are affecting more than just my son. It is affecting a whole football league, an entire district. Why are we taking kids away from Harriman and putting them into an overcrowded Riverton Mountain Ridge boundary? I know that sports is not on your agenda, but let me tell you how much sports affects these kids and their schooling. No matter what, our kids have seen stability at football. They've made friends, they felt tougher, and they have a different drive in life. Taking that away can affect how they perform at school. I have been a team mom the last 2 years, and I have seen kids go from scared to confident in one season. And I've seen kids get better grades because if they don't get good grades, they can't play football and be with their friends. So please keep the boundaries where they are. Don't overcrowd other places and take from us. It's just not fair. Thanks for reading. Kim Birdsall. This next comment submitted 2. I will try to read both in 3 minutes. Amelia Brady. Living in the tip of the Triangle Area 2 of the Northwest area, which is proposed to move schools, has had its ups and downs. I feel that it is at cross purposes to jerk us around so much. I understand the need or desire to move things around. I would like to make a few comments about this. The proposal happily states that one elementary school, Midas Creek, will no longer be split between 3 middle schools, but this proposal causes the very thing to happen for Copper Canyon Elementary. I see the numbers changing and that Elkridge numbers would go down quite a bit without the change. Other than that, it all seems like not too big of a deal. They may be so happy to have fewer students. Students in the Northwest Area 2 are so close to Copper Hills High School that the transportation situation will be a drain and demand that will be difficult to get to Bingham High. Elkridge is fine, but Bingham? Oh no, so much time, money, and energy would go towards driving to and from, especially in east-west traffic, and especially for students with any sort of extracurricular activities and the need to eat. It would be great if new developments that would need to be bused anyway would be bused to the schools that need more enrollment. We are already connected to our high school, Copper Hills. We don't want to give it up. I have more thoughts, but hopefully someone else will speak them as my brain is done. Thank you for your time. Hello, I had some comments about the boundary change. I don't like it. I live in the Triangle, Area 2. I feel like Elkridge is a fine school, and it would be great for kids to go there. It isn't too much further than West Hills. However, Bingham is much further distance and would be a hardship, as I only have one child left in school after this year, and she will be going into high school and has been planning to go to Copper Hills and done some wrestling with that school and gotten to know the band teacher and choir teacher. She really doesn't want to go somewhere else. It feels like the district tries to make sure that a whole middle school will go to the same high school. I wonder if it has considered to split the middle school and allow them to go to different high schools. That is how it was for me when I was growing up. Half or part of the school went to one high school and the other part went to another. I think that is totally reasonable. If students only have friends not within their own neighborhood, they could consider a special permit. I know it has been discussed to roll this all out gradually, and I think that would be way easier than a blanket statement to go elsewhere, especially when your family and friends are already committed to one neighborhood and school. But if they were gradual, then students could change gradually and know that they could plan a certain way. It would still work if the middle schools didn't all go to the same high school. Amelia Brady. Julie Bruner, concerns about the West Jordan boundary change. First, I want the current 9th graders to be considered high school students and have their permits approved to attend Copper Hills for 10th through 12th grade for all who apply. Many 9th graders that I know are already involved in extracurricular activities through Copper Hills and or with students from Sunset Ridge Middle School. I think changing schools for this group would be most difficult and be disruptive to their high school experience. Also consider the greater distance to Bingham means kids need to be driven or bused. Our district already seems short on bus drivers, so making more bus routes to Bingham doesn't make sense. For high schoolers who are driving, the driving to Bingham is east-west and crossing Bangerter, which are busier roads compared to north-south driving to Copper Hills. For families involved in extracurricular activities, this becomes a significant amount of time. My understanding is that the boundaries are created to keep elementary students within a feeder system. This change will split Copper Canyon Elementary between 3 middle schools and 2 feeder systems. That should be avoided. I don't understand the numbers and why the choice is to move established older neighborhoods with many families already having Copper Hills students and connections. For those of us involved, high school is a big system to relearn. Also, our neighborhood is decreasing in number of kids, so it seems the student impact now and projected is minimal. For the families who have been attending Copper Hills with older kids, I hope the permit system allows a few years for the adjustment. It is significant on families to have kids attending 2 different high schools. If my current 11th grader continues at Copper Hills High School, which would be the plan, and I plan on our 9th grader attending Copper Hills High School next year, then I'm still left with our son's student soon afterwards. Would he be given higher preference in the permits if his sister is attending Copper Hills High School in 2 years? Again, having kids attending 2 high schools feels like an unnecessary burden. I am hoping there is a gradual transition for those interested in staying at current Boundary schools. This should ease the strain on the students and their families. Thank you for your time. Julie Bruner. Jana Conche? Do you want to read it? Oh, okay. All right, Jana Conche. Dear Jordan District Board, I would like to take a moment to express my feelings in regards to the proposed boundary changes, specifically the ones affecting West Hills and Copper Hills. My family lives in the neighborhood south of 90th that will be forced to change Elkridge Middle and Bingham High next year. I have a few concerns and insights. I am concerned that creating this boundary creates a division in Copper Canyon Elementary, as our neighborhood would be the only neighborhood not continuing on to West Hills Elementary School, creates a tight community for 7 years, and many students need this community support as they transition to middle school. I am concerned for new drivers, my son being one of them next year, who will need to maneuver through the already crowded and chaotic area that is and around Bingham on 106 South during the morning and afternoon. It is also concerning that the district is okay spending $50,000 per bus per year to bus kids to Elkridge and Bingham when it isn't necessary, as our kids can walk to their current schools. I am concerned that our kids will feel like the outsiders, as they are the West Jordan kids rather than the South Jordan kids. It will take several years before they will truly feel like part of that school. This concerns me, as this can be a stressful time in a teen's life. I appreciate Nikki George's potential solution at the last board meeting. I appreciate her desire to find a solution. I am sad, however, for my 7th grade daughter, whose best friend is 1 year behind her in school, 6th grade, and would be sent to Elkridge. I assume my daughter's BFF wouldn't have a choice. Now for an insight. I asked my daughter, who is a senior at Copper Hills, if she ever felt like the teachers were unhappy with the capacity at Copper Hills. Her answer was no. She has felt like her teachers care about her, provide a great education, and are positive role models. I was so grateful to hear from a Copper Hills counselor who spoke up for our kids and made it known that Copper Hills does not feel overwhelmed. I have also wondered what happens to the staff at West Hills and Copper Hills as the enrollment changes. Will they lose some staff and counselors, making the burden just as great as it is now, or possibly worse? Are these just numbers being looked at rather than looking at the impact moving students around will cause? Please remember that our kids are not just a number in a charitable school. This change may have ramifications beyond just balancing school enrollment. Please consider leaving these boundaries as they are. Thank you for all the work you do to make Jordan District a great place to live in, teach in, and learn in. Jana Conche. April Hunter. Dear school board members, we are writing to you as deeply concerned parents and members of the community to voice our strong opposition to the proposed school boundary changes. We urge you to listen to our concerns and ensure that the voices of affected families are truly heard during this process. We are asking you to please vote no to the boundary change proposal. The current plan would require our child to transfer from Copper Hills High School, just 1.1 miles from our home, to Bingham High School, located 5.6 miles away. This significant increase in distance would make daily transportation more difficult and time-consuming, especially during adverse weather, and would introduce unnecessary safety risks and stress for our family. Beyond logistical challenges, the impact on our child's well-being and sense of community cannot be overstated. Copper Hills is not just a school to her. It is a place where she feels a sense of belonging, comfort, and familiarity with teachers, classmates, and the school culture. Moving her to a rival school in a different city would be extremely disruptive. None of her friends are impacted by the boundary change, so she would be forced to leave her support system behind and start over in an unfamiliar environment. We are also worried about lost opportunities for extracurricular involvement. Our student has already begun building relationships with coaches and teachers at Copper Hills, but would have to start anew at Bingham, where she is unknown and might miss out on key opportunities. Additionally, limited parking at the new school would make participation in activities even more difficult. It is important to highlight that the proposed boundary change would divide siblings across different schools and many families in our neighborhood, causing logistical complications and emotional hardship. While this may not directly affect our own family, we are very concerned about the impact this will have on our neighbors and the broader community. The possibility of relying on permits is not a realistic solution as it introduces uncertainty and additional stress. Furthermore, our district is already struggling with bus driver shortages. Redirecting students to more distant schools would only worsen these transportation challenges and create further difficulties for families. We respectfully ask the board to consider these changes as they would disrupt established support networks, separate siblings, and reduce opportunities for meaningful engagement in school life. And board, I need to correct what I said. We respectfully ask the board to reconsider these changes. I misread that, I apologize. In closing, we strongly oppose the proposed boundary change and hope the board will recognize the real and lasting impact this would have on our children and community. Please listen to our voices and keep our students in their established school communities. Thank you for your time and consideration. Marcy Lockhart. I am extremely against this boundary change. I have twin ninth graders. They have been practicing with the teams at Copper Hills and have made a name for themselves there. They are able to try put for those teams the spring. If they are Mives to Bingham, they will lose those opportunities to participate in those sports. I had a son that graduated from Copper Hills High School in 2025. During his time there, we were huge supporters and donators for the school. My husband currently volunteers at the school for the baseball program. We live less than a mile from the school. Moving our children to Bingham will cause us to drive over 5 miles to and from school. I know buses will, I think they meant be provided, but for kids that do activities through the school, that is not beneficial. I feel like the ninth graders should be given a permit and the choice to choose what school they attend. Marcy Lockhart. Janine Norris. I am writing in opposition to the proposed boundary change affecting the Wildflower neighborhood. First off, I want to say that this is a Band-Aid solution to what is likely an evolving problem. The city can't continue to allow development of medium and high-density housing with high turnover without infrastructure in place to support the residents. Here are a few of my concerns with this proposal. Bingham High School is a 20-minute commute from our neighborhood when there isn't traffic. Not only is this a significant distance, but it also crosses dangerous roadways. You are putting kids on a bus that are otherwise in walking distance to both the middle school and high school when there is already a strain on the bus system. This increases taxes for all of us. The demographic background of our neighborhood and those attending Bingham High School are likely very different. Placing kids into a high school where they have not grown up increases the chances of discrimination, alienation, and bullying. I've heard that part of this proposal is to provide more equal opportunities, but I can assure you when you are talking sports and extracurricular activities, our middle school children already have exposure to the high school coaches and programs, and they will not be given the same opportunities going into a new school. It would likely have the adverse effect. Students who had plans to participate in high school programs as ninth graders will be hurt the most by this change. Today, these kids can get back and forth to the high school without transportation, but if this proposal goes through, they will be dependent on parent transportation. Many households have 2 working parents, leaving these kids unable to participate. Parents who have kids in both the middle and high schools will not be able to support 2 schools, nor should they have to. There is no reason to displace kids this close to the schools and tell middle school children that they can no longer attend the high school with their older siblings. The Wildflower neighborhood is essential to the area public schools. We provide an enormous amount of parent assistance to the schools, are active in several communities as well as the PTA, and have students that represent a large number, if not all, extracurricular activities the high school provides. Our neighborhood is largely aging out. Kids are graduating and parents are staying in the homes, which means there will be a natural decrease in school population over the next several years from our neighborhood. There is no sound logic to make such a disruptive decision. Our kids deserve to attend the school of their choice, and for many, that is Copper Hills. Janine Norris. Ricky Mark. I am against this boundary change. It does not make sense to uproot one of the most stable parts of the community and put even more strain on our busing system. When we bought this home, we looked at the schools in our community and made this choice. How we wanted our kids to attend the proposed schools, we would have moved closer to them. I personally know people who have faced issues with the perceived social class difference between South Jordan and West Jordan and had a child who is looked down upon for being the new kid who wasn't able to keep up with the Joneses. Furthermore, it puts kids at a disadvantage with athletics, not having invested time getting to know the coaches at this school. My younger kids who are still in elementary would also face this, as they would be growing with athletic programs meant to feed into Copper Hills' system, not Bingham's. I need a little more clarity as to why it would be difficult to open up enrollment in some way to allow people who are in the neighborhood the chance to enroll at Bingham or Copper Hills, rather than forcing the entire group to go to a school outside of their community. Ricky Mark. Shelley Madsen. Dear board members, I'm a parent in Area 2 with children attending or soon attending Copper Hills High School. I'm writing to ask you to please reject the proposed boundary change that would move our neighborhood to Bingham High in 2026-27. Our family and many others built our lives here because of Copper Hills. It's more than a school to us, it's our community. Our kids have grown up with these friends, teachers, and families. Asking a small group of students to leave would take them away from everything familiar and supportive during some of the most important years of their lives. Safety is another major concern. Copper Hills is walkable for our teens. Bingham is not. The commute would force inexperienced drivers onto Bangerter Highway, one of the most dangerous roads in the area, especially in the winter. That risk is simply not worth it. This proposal also doesn't solve the long-term issues. Our neighborhood will naturally age out of Copper Hills within a few years. A 6-year transition plan, like the one Representative Nikki George mentioned, would balance enrollment without uprooting kids who are already settled. At Copper Hills, our children are known and supported. They feel they belong. Moving them to a new school means starting over, socially, emotionally, and academically. No data point can capture what that loss would mean for them. Please put relationships and students' well-being first. Reject the Area 2 reassignment and consider a plan that allows our children to stay where they've built their community. Thank you for listening. I am unable to be present at the meeting this evening, but do not wish my prior comment, lack of attendance, to be misconstrued as agreement with this proposal. Shelley Madsen. And the last one, Eric Page. Dear Jordan School District Board of Education, Superintendent, and Boundary Committee, I recognize the immense effort and difficult decisions involved in balancing enrollment, and I acknowledge the board's good intentions in attempting to make a positive change for the district. However, based on my analysis of the available projection data and the qualitative impact on invested families, this proposal is fundamentally flawed. It merely transfers the issue of overcrowding from one school to another, fails to leverage district resources, and inflicts unnecessary social and logistical costs on students. 1. The proposal fails to achieve true enrollment balance. The district's methodology appears to focus on shifting raw enrollment totals toward equality rather than addressing the core issue of utilization percentage and overall building capacity. Middle school overcorrection. The plan relieves the most utilized middle school by burdening the one with the smallest capacity. Sunset Ridge, he's included some charts here, so I'm going to do my best to read that. Sunset Ridge would decrease in their utilization from 92% to 73%. Elk Ridge would go from 78% to 90.7%. This is not balancing. It moves the highest concentrations of students to Elk Ridge Middle School, making it the new utilization bottleneck. High school inefficiency. The high school adjustments are an inefficient application of district resources. Bingham would go from 81.5% to 90.1%. West Jordan High School would be 61.3 going to 59.3. The plan forces Bingham High to over 90% utilization while failing to utilize the massive available space at West Jordan High, currently below 60% capacity. A balanced plan must leverage all three schools effectively. Critique of future growth assumption. While future growth is a likelihood in the area served by Sunset Ridge and Copper Hills, the current proposal is based on projections that do not reflect significant future growth. The projections show Sunset Ridge is forecasted to grow by only 15 students, 1% of current enrollment, while Copper Hills is projected to grow by 94, 3%. Both are to sizes well within current capacity. Future boundary changes likely will need to be made, but the current data does not appear to support that need. A significant boundary change such as this should be validated by concrete projected numbers, not hypothetical scenarios. Number 2, unacceptable timing of the feeder split and loss of social capital. The plan introduces a new feeder split where one does not currently exist, fracturing the Copper Canyon Elementary group immediately upon entering middle school. Social vulnerability. The transition into middle school is a sensitive and social challenging time, forcing a significant number. There's quite a bit more, board, so I'm going to forward that email to you, but that is the last one.
I believe he did forward that to all board members already.
Oh, great.
In concern that there wouldn't be enough time. Okay, I'll make one more call. Anyone else here hoping to speak who didn't get a chance? Okay, let's just go ahead and talk about the next steps of these decisions. So the intention of tonight's meeting is so that we can listen, gather feedback, and then have time to make decisions. So the vote right now is scheduled for our next meeting, which would take place on November 18th. We anticipate that the votes will happen then, barring something like a board member asking for an extension on the vote or something like that. The reason that we want to do it in this time period is because of permit windows. We want to give students the opportunity to permit to the schools that best fit their needs. And as a reminder, the proposals at this time, permit windows are allowed for priority permits for students in Midas Creek going for the full 12 years. So if a student decides that they want to go to a school that is not in their boundary, in that boundary change area, they would receive priority for 12 years. The proposal for the northwest boundary change, so Sunset Ridge, West Hills, Elk Ridge, that one, is a 6-year rollout or a secondary rollout, meaning that I heard several statements wondering if there was a way to provide priority. And yes, that's in place already. The board voted on that last week or last meeting. So that would mean if you are currently a 7th grade student who wants to continue in your feeder system through Copper Hills High School, you would have priority to do so. So I just wanted to provide that information for you in case you're wondering what the next steps are. If you would like to come next meeting, we'll also have public comment. Public comment is slightly different than a public hearing in that public comment is contained to a time period, and in a hearing, we listen until everybody's had an opportunity. So you are, of course, still welcome to come to that meeting. We're always happy to hear from you. You also have the option of emailing or phoning board member representatives. So we appreciate your input and your attendance tonight. We understand that it represents a sacrifice, and we're grateful for the perspective that you provide for us. Okay, board members, anything else to add, or I'm ready for a motion to adjourn.
Can we make changes tonight? Can we propose changes tonight?
I don't think there's anything that would stop us from proposing changes tonight.
Because I really like the Northwest proposal to split that into 3 different decisions, because I favor a couple of them, I don't favor another yet. And to me, they're all totally different decisions, so.
Can you describe the
motion
decisions?
That's a motion for next week, not tonight. We can tackle them one at a time.
Okay, I can make that motion later if that's fine, as long as we have time to talk about it and stuff, but.
Yeah, we'll definitely have time to talk next time.
Okay.
And that is a little departure from our regular scheduled meetings because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So just a heads up, it's next Tuesday, not in 2 Tuesdays, in case you're a follower of board meetings. Okay.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Dunford, second by Dr. Robinson, that we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? All right. Thank you so much for attending. We stand adjourned.